Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the...
Literalist reactions.
I hope you get a kick out of watching it.
Welcome to another Literalist reaction video. I'm Dave. With me, as always, my good buddy John Doe. Oh, John.
Oh,
John.
Dave.
We're back on the bandwagon of The Rush.
Yeah, I need a fix.
Fair enough.
I haven't heard Rush in days.
Days, if not more than days.
All right, well, Rush, of course, we love the Rush. Rush is awesome. And our viewers by the masses have suggested this one.
What's special about it?
Bravado. I don't know. I really don't know. You know why? Because this is in the post-prog Rush. This is the more straightforward rock Rush. And people say, you say you're the Rush expert, John. We should go over some of these comments we get, by the way. I know you don't read them quite as often as I do. I read every single comment. I take all the flaming. I listen to the guy who tells me about how he rolled a 9 and wiped out an entire Dungeons and Dragons something or other.
That checks out.
Yeah. Anyway.
So you haven't listened to Rush in days, and I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons since last night. So.
Oh yeah. So you're jonesing too. So anyway, Vicky New, N-O-U-S, New. That's French. That's how you would spell new in French. But it might be nous, it might be nous.
Sure.
It might be Noas, or it could be Smith.
It's Jones.
Greg Scott, Mark, and Gina Marandino. So I tell you what struck out at me with this one is 50% are female.
Oh.
Requesting a Rush video. So, or a Rush song. So here we go. We got to do some Rush Bravado, and we got to get your take on the lyrics.
All right. Gets right going.
I can already tell you why I haven't listened to it very often. This could have been Starship or Cars or Journey.
If we burn our wings, flying too close to the sun. If the moment of glory is over before it's begun. If the dream is won, though everything is lost, we will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. We will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. When the dust has cleared, victory denied, a summit too lofty, river a little too wide. If we keep our pride, though paradise is lost, we will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. We will pay the price, but we will not count the cost.
All right, before we start this instrumental portion, the lyrics are just depressing so far. It's nothing but a list of how nobody quite makes it. Like there's, no matter what happens, something is in your way. Either you're Icarus, you flew too close to the sun and then crashed in the ocean and drowned, or the river's too wide, or like whatever it is, it's just nonstop. Like you're not going to accomplish the lofty thing you set out to accomplish.
I guess in light of the title Bravado, means that it takes a lot of bravado to make an attempt that you're bound to fail at. Is that where you're going with it?
Maybe. I don't know. So far, it's just you're going to fail at whatever you try.
Okay, so another happy one from Rush. Cheer up, everybody. There's more.
It's got that super slow fade going out.
Yeah, super long, slow fade. Slow fade.
It's the slow Bobby flayed. So
Yeah.
I definitely have some feelings about this Rush song. First of all, I'm struggling where to start. So I'm going to start with lyrics. I just need to pick a thing. I'm going to start with the lyrics. I think that the entire song is about how those who have a lot of bravado don't think through the outcome of their actions. I'm going to slap these wings on my back and fly. I'm going to try to sing an epic song. I'm going to try to ford this river that's way too wide and way too fast. I'm not going to think through the outcome. I'm just going to start walking into the river. And then, so they pay the price. They fall into the ocean and drown. They get swept down the river. They, lose all their credit, socially or musically. I don't know if I can attribute this to Rush the band, but I also think this is the weakest Rush song you've played me. And I didn't hear a lot of the things I've grown accustomed to Rush doing. There were not a lot of interesting time changes. There were not I didn't feel like there were
zero. There were zero time changes.
I didn't hear movements within the piece. There were
movements.
quietings and loudenings. There's a term for that, I'm sure.
Quietings and loudenings.
Yeah, I nailed it. But outside of that, there were no surprises. That's the word I'm looking for.
That's the word.
There were zero surprises in this entire song. The entire time, I felt like I knew what was coming, with one minor exception. There was a fun little noise the drum made like 2 or 3 times that I don't know what it was.
Well, and I'll even give the song more than that, because I was trying to ignore the lyrics and pay specifically attention to where is the Rushification of this song. Because like I said, at the opening instrumental section, this could have been a song by Starship or anybody in the 90s. It didn't sound anything special. But then it's just bass and drums, which was an interesting thing. And then the guitar came in. And then the fills were different as the song went through. So where if it was Starship or it was Journey or something like that, it would have been largely probably very similar or the same exact types of fills. And so it was Rushified a little. But overall, you said it, and I don't disagree. That's musically, that's probably the most boring Rush song I've ever heard.
I also, and this is probably reaching, I don't necessarily think this is true, but I think it's very interesting that you have a song lyrically that is about not counting the cost and just rushing forward to do something and then paying the price for it. And then musically, you have what is so far the most uninteresting Rush song you've played me. Now, I have only heard less than a dozen Rush songs in my lifetime. So that, and Rush so far from what you've played me has been just mind-blowingly cool. So I think that bar was unrealistically high. Because if this was a different band, I think that my expectations would have been lower, and I would have just thought it was a perfectly fine song. But compared to most of the Rush you've played me, this is almost a letdown from a Rush perspective, just for me.
Yeah. So clearly it's my fault. That,
I don't think it's your fault. I mean, I did see you wrote and directed the song, though. So, yeah, that was definitely... Actually, who was that? That one dude had a very long last name that I didn't recognize.
Those are the three members of Yes with their real names. Neil Elwood Peart, Gary Lee Weinrib, and Alex Zivajinovich.
You know, I guess I never pay attention. Usually it's just like their first names or something.
Yeah.
Like Gary Lee. I never...
His real name is Gary. Did I tell you that story?
No.
Okay, so his mother, or maybe parents, but I'm for sure his mother is a Holocaust survivor.
Oh.
So very, very Eastern European, Jewish woman.
Mm-hmm.
So when they came to North America in Canada, when Gary Lee was growing up, he'd be in the yard playing with his friends. And his mother, with her thick Eastern European accent, would yell out the door, "Geddy! Geddy!"
Oh, okay. So everyone's called him Geddy.
Yeah. So his friends started calling him Geddy because that was the way she pronounced the R's, was with that D kind of a sound, being where she was from and all that. So that's how he got his name, Geddy Lee.
Yeah, I just always thought he was Geddy. I never knew that wasn't his name, so I was confused when I saw it.
There you go.
And I don't think I ever saw Alex's full last name. So that was...
I got to say that's been a bit of a mystery to me as well. I know I've seen it somewhere in the past, but not so often that I could pronounce it quickly.
Zivajinovich.
Zivajinovich, probably, or even if the J is pronounced, I'm not sure.
Zivojinovich?
Maybe. Who knows?
Sure. I bet Chekhov on Star Trek could pronounce it.
I do like Lifeson, Alex Lifeson. That's
Lifeson.
I like that one. Yeah, that's his stage name, of course.
Yeah. Overall, still an enjoyable song. Like it wasn't a bad song by any means. I just think I had unrealistic Rush expectations going into it, and that is why I'm a little let down by it. Not because it, in and of itself, was a bad song. And I think this song in a vacuum, perfectly acceptable. Would have enjoyed it more. And I did enjoy it. It was still a fun song. But definitely not the Rush I've been used to so far, I think. Which is, that in and of itself is also interesting to me. That you could have just such a wildly different song from what you've been introducing me to so far.
Yeah. Which is why when I choose them, rather than look at the votes, you're not going to get a straight 4-bar rock song or anything like that.
I don't know. Sometimes, John, you got to go the full gambit. And it's super interesting to hear a different side of the same band we've been going through. So,
and I'm sitting here looking at those last couple of lyrics, and I'm wondering to myself, if all of that discussion of bravado, all of that risk and loss, doesn't come down to that last line.
But we will not count the cost if love remains.
And if love remains. So maybe ultimately this is as close to a love song as Rush is going to get. But ultimately, to give oneself, to have the bravado to give oneself over to love without counting the potential cost of exposing yourself fully to another human, if love remains, it was all worth it. You think that's maybe where they're going with that?
Sure. Or it's an allegory for they still love making music even if it's wildly different. But I bet
like
you're
that
probably,
one. Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
I
good.
bet you're probably right.
We'll go with yours. No, I prefer to take yours. I really do. All right, Dave, catch you on the flip side.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the...
Literalist reactions.
I hope you get a kick out of watching it.